All right. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of 360 Real Talk. We're bringing you entertainment, entrepreneurial lifestyle, and lifestyle news. And I'm Alex.
I'm Yolanda.
That's Yolanda. And where's 360?
He
Oh,
is.
well,
Oh, there he
I'm
is.
here.
Oh, on the
I'm on a
phone.
call this week. I couldn't be there, but we're figuring out this technology stuff. It's
Yeah.
2018, so we're gonna get it.
Yep.
We're going to get it.
I'm pretty sure. It's advancing us so fast.
Exactly. So I had a situation where I couldn't make it to the studio tonight, and we came up with a good idea to patch in. I wanted to do the video patch in, but we'll figure that out next time.
Next time.
So here we are. So let's get it started. Let's jump right in.
All right. So we're going to switch it up our order tonight a little bit. So Yolanda, you're going to start us off?
Yeah,
Okay.
little order switching. So I would like to start us off with our memes of the week. I think it's been a week of like whole technological issues. It's been crazy. And these other two, I'm telling you, they're the experts, and I am not. Okay, so when I get challenged, like that is an issue. So I meditate, I burn candles, I drink tea, and I still want to smack some people. Little.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't do any of those things, but I still want to smack some people.
Still will.
Right? Right?
Oh my goodness.
Well, hey guys, I'm echoing again.
Uh-oh.
Echo 360. What's up?
Echo. Right. So yeah, what we're talking about, I was lost. This audio thing's kind of weird, but I'm learning it.
It's our meme.
Oh, the meme?
Meme of
Because
the
I got a
week.
delay on my end.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, right.
I got you. Well, do you want to do your meme?
I'll do my meme of
Do
the
your
week. Okay, so um, Kylie Jenner apparently just ate cereal for the first time.
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't. Okay, so this one is just her tweet. Last night I had cereal with milk for the first time. Life changing. Okay, and the internet came right back in this meme. Girl, you lying. You had cereal with milk on April 25th, 2013, and posted it on Instagram. Oh, man. Called out so fast.
Calling
Don't
them
lie
out.
to the internet. Don't
Calling
do
them
it.
out. Well, that's the thing. You can't get away with that anymore. We got away with that.
There it is.
Nobody knows what I did in 1993. You know, they can't call me back
Well,
and be
They
like,
can't,
hey.
It was kind of like, I posted something earlier in the week where, like, in the 90s, like, you know, you got called up in the 90s on a three-way call. So it was like, oh, we gonna three-way call that girl, and we gonna catch her. And nowadays, it's like, I'll just screenshot a picture of a message and be like,
Yep.
look what so-and-so said to you. I don't do that because I'm not the gossip queen like some people. But that's the big difference of technology is now we're like just a screenshot away of ruining somebody's life. Whereas back in the day, you had to go through some work to blackmail somebody and like expose people. You know what I mean?
You did. It was work.
Yeah.
And it was worth it.
Right. It was, now it's like Snapchat is Snapchat. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, look what so-and-so said about so-and-so. And I'm just like, Jesus, you can't. You know what I mean? It's like me when I start talking about my dating thing, I'll touch on that. You know, people sending provocative pics and stuff like that, and then you get exposed. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a little less work nowadays, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. So
yeah, walk us through. What do you have for us this week?
So I decided to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship and what I call the dark side.
Oh, no.
The dark side. Some of the effects on mental health and the higher risk of burnout. I mean, now that I'm looking myself on this camera, do you see those dark circles? Like, what's happening? Like,
You're a human who is alive?
Like, I should have put, like, 5 more layers of, like, foundation and concealer, like, on there, because that's the reality of it, is I think that people who are very passionate about what they want to do, and we don't have sort of a clear boundary, right? Because everything is a flow.
It's
I think
always
between
business.
it. Well, it's not only that, but one thing flows in the other. There's no like I'm going to work and I'm clocking in and I'm clocking out.
Right.
Like there's none of that. So it's a continuous stream of events that you try to put in order of prioritization, or at least that's what I find. And so that's the hard thing, or I think one of the most challenging things about being an entrepreneur is because everything's important, right? Your kids are important.
Yes.
Taking out the trash is important. Returning that phone call for that client is important, and it all just blends into one big thing. It never stops.
And I don't know about you, but I have a little bit of I don't know, anxiety about choosing one over the other.
Yes.
Right?
Which one's most important?
Exactly.
It absolutely is. And so it can, well, that's exactly what it says. Is that with entrepreneurs, they're actually, and they've done a lot of studies, and I have my master's in mental health counseling, and so I've read all these boring studies. Like, I actually like to read them and entertain myself with these statistics. But just a little bit of statistics for, I think, what some of us go through is, it says that according to the Gallup Wellbeing Index, entrepreneurs were more likely than the general population to have 30% depression compared to a 15%.
Wow.
That's double. ADHD, 29% compared to 5%. Now that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge, but also, I mean, I would beg to differ that there's, I would probably say that a lot of people who are quote unquote, and there's that wide variation of diagnosis, which I'm not a fan of, that people who multitask and have these great ideas,
It's almost a benefit to them.
It's a benefit.
Right.
So I would say that a lot of entrepreneurs would, that correlation to me makes sense.
Sure. Absolutely.
Like, I mean, it makes sense more than anything else, I think. So there's the positives and negatives for that. And then that gets down to like organization and like priorities and all that stuff. Addiction, 12% compared to 4%.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah. I mean, just, and it doesn't, break that down.
Sure.
But bipolar diagnosis, 11% compared to 1%. And so it's just interesting. I mean, it's not just from one source.
Sure.
Right? It's not just saying, hey, these one people found this thing. I mean, this is sort of an over, which, and again, there's those positive and negatives for that, because I think the people who are able to experience low lows are able to experience high highs.
Sure.
And accomplish a lot of things at the same time. So I just found that really interesting. And then to talk about, you can take that to another level, and we can get into like, recent, people who maybe have had high highs and low lows. We have recent, like, Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain. I mean, that's all recent. I mean, of just high level entrepreneurs that have tapped out.
I don't know much about Kate Spade. She's a fashion designer.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah,
Yes.
the really popular handbags. So
And scarves.
And scarves.
And scarves.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So what do you think it was in that world that stressed her? Is it just a business side of it all? Was she a businesswoman and designer? Again, I'm not familiar with her
I am
story.
so like, I'm so like, it's interesting that I'm sitting here doing media and saying I'm anti-media. Like, I don't pay attention to, right?
Yes.
I don't pay, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I can only imagine that, the more, as being like, okay, let's say that I'm pseudo in the public eye locally, right? So when you take that and you magnify that,
Right.
To a global scale, to a national scale, who is really your friend?
Sure.
Who trusts you? Who do you
Sure.
trust?
Sure.
Where's your safe place? You know what I mean?
Still celebrity without the celebrity.
I think that falls into that. I mean, you, on top of whatever personal issues are going on, I think that compounds to a higher level. If we were to take it to like an extreme, like I wonder, like, who does Madonna trust? Like, I mean, who wouldn't
fair.
want to hang out with Madonna? Who would want to say, oh yeah, like I was calling her up and chatting like the other day? Like, I mean, where's the real, where's the loyalty on that? I mean, I don't know. Hard to find. Hard to come by.
It goes by. This sucks being on the phone and not there with you guys. This is different.
We miss you too.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah, and the echo is killing me. But anyway, so it goes back to like, yeah, when you're, we're all entrepreneurs, and all three of us are definitely coming. We've been entrepreneurs for a long time. And, you know, when you talk about sleep and you talk about self-care and you talk about trusting people, like there's so many different elements that go into that. We all have our circle of people that we rely on for certain things. Like, you know, we have our mentor type friends that we call for advice on certain topics. We have people that we call just to vent. We have, you know, I have people that I call that only can give me advice in certain departments versus other departments. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's a lot to deal with. You know, it's a lot of, you know, the trust thing is like, especially I feel like the more successful you get, the harder it is to trust people that you don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, escalate it. It can be a very lonely place because you are going to depend on a few people that have had to probably pass like many tests or barriers to say, hey, like, you're just not trying to use me for something, right?
Mhm.
Because I mean, when you have popularity or you have a big driven goal, and let's say you have some success with it, which we all hope that we will, then that comes along with the price tag of that. And I mean,
and then furthermore, like, not to cut you off, but furthermore, it's like, if you're not an entrepreneur, then you don't understand the lifestyle that we lead, and you don't understand the crazy hours. You don't understand the sacrifices, you know, and it sucks because we lose a lot of sleep. We lose a lot of time with our families, and it's rough. You know what I mean? It's really rough.
Well, or you have people that do genuinely, like, when, you know, sometimes you have people that genuinely do care about you, but they're just clueless. Like,
Yeah,
they
don't
just
understand
they
Right.
don't get
the
it, and
dedication.
they can love you from all of their soul and say yay and like, I'm here for you, but they don't know how to help you, and they don't have that mentality. So their advice is, you know, more of like a safety, like, I love you, like, you know, woohoo, like, we love you and
Wish
take
there
care
was
of
something
yourself.
I can do. You
Wish there
know,
was
I'm here to
something I can
support you,
do,
but
you
I don't
know.
have a clue about running a podcast.
Well, right.
Sorry.
It's like
You know
my
what I
mom.
mean?
It's like my mom. She's like, well, I made some pasta salad, and I was thinking if I brought that over, that would help. And I'm like, yes, mom,
Is
your
that
pasta
what
salad
is
will
that what
help.
she sounds
Yes,
like?
and she's wonderful, and she's very serious about it. You know, she's like, well, do you have enough toilet paper?
Always
Because,
say
Right.
no.
you know, like,
She'll
no,
send you
we
some.
never do. But I'm just saying, like, that's her showing me her love. It doesn't help me sort through my issues, but I know I will always have toilet paper.
Well, I think that's something we have to
You
accept
know?
a lot of times is, you know, still trying to keep those relationships and having our own understanding of how people can be involved with us,
Right.
and that this is something that we chose, and we have to deal with our own consequences
We do. We have to
of
own it.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it can be tough.
And not get into the poor me mentality because,
Exactly.
oh, my road is so rough, you know, and surround ourselves
Yeah,
with
I
other
mean, you
like-minded
can't.
people.
Well, that's why I've learned over the years, like, I don't want to hear people's problems and crap because I got enough of my own. So I've learned there's only a select few people that I will even open up to like that, to be like, oh my God, this is driving me crazy. This is what I'm dealing with, blah, blah, blah. And then there's just only certain times you can even have those conversations, even with the closest of your circle, because we're all like in that hustle and we're all trying to make it to that goal and we're all trying to be successful. And there's just time and place for that. And you can't always, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, you know, you just got to know, like, ooh, I can squeeze in a venting section real quick, or no, this is not the time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right. So, yeah, like I was saying, we as entrepreneurs have no, quote, days off, no clocking in, no clocking out, no weekdays, no weekends. I don't even know what a freaking weekend is. Like, I've never had a job or business that I'm working where, like, I don't even keep track of days of the week based on days of the week. I'm like, Monday doesn't have a meaning to me. It has a podcast meaning, hey, but you know, it doesn't. I mean, I'm like, okay, like, what day of the week is it? It's unrelated. So, you know, from a personal perspective, like, there are consequences to that. I suffer from migraines. I've woken up on mornings where I can't carry my own neck.
Oh,
I mean, I literally cannot pick my own neck up. Like, you want to talk about like shut your body, like overriding you and shutting you down. It's like, look, I mean, unless someone's coming over to carry my neck for me, like, I'm pretty sure I'm not showing you that house. That's not happening, right? I mean, so things get real, right? I mean, they get to a real level. Um, and so, I'm sort of on a journey right now with myself a little bit where, and I've been in really good strides with this.
Good.
I've spent a lot of years studying it. And when you know that you're out of sync with it a little bit,
Right.
and you can own it and you can say, yeah, I'm a little bit out of sync with that. So, we want to sort of talk about positive things like what are some of the solutions to that? Obviously, self-care, right?
Yes.
And we all have our things, not one thing. Some people can sit there and like meditate till the end of the universe. And I can meditate for a little bit. I've worked on that actually extensively. But, sometimes meditation with music, I mean, just being able to disconnect,
Right. Zone out.
zone
Yeah.
out, whatever way that is, whether, I mean, I have never binge watched anything in my life, and I binge watched Shameless. Like,
Okay.
what is that? Like, I mean,
I
like,
love Shameless.
I
I've
mean,
never
I'm
seen
on
it.
like already up to season 5. Like, I couldn't stop myself. Like, I've never had this experience before, but for some reason, that was part of my wellness routine. I was like, they make me feel normal. Like, they make me feel like, yeah, this is normal. So what, there's a lot of range. I mean, music, massage, things that have helped me. Um, Obviously, nutrition and exercise, I could probably do a whole nother segment, which I don't want to take up too much time, about how your neurochemistry and your brain chemistry can completely change based on what you put in your body.
Right.
And I mean, we could just do a whole, I don't even want to get too deep into that because I would go off and like I'd be on my soapbox and Mark would be like, I'm still on the phone. And you would be like, my guest is like waiting. I mean, I could do like 12 segments on that.
We'll get there.
So, I think that it was a good topic for me. Last week I wasn't here, and that was part of me practicing self-care. I mean, that's what that was about. And I think right now, Mark being with us, remotely, it's part of his process of, self-care and family care and us being able to work that out. And I think that's important.
Yes.
So I would like to touch on really quickly 4 powerful ways to prevent the burnout. Set realistic expectations, which we don't do. So that's
No.
that's bullshit. We're not doing
We're
that.
not doing it. We're just not gonna.
Scrap one.
I put that there, but never
Scrap
mind.
one. Like, I'm not even paying attention to that. Establish boundaries. Super
That's
important.
so important.
I mean, the power of no.
Exactly.
Like, I think we want so much that we just don't know how to be like no.
You have to do it personally and professionally.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's tough, but you have to.
You have to be able to say sometimes like no. Change up your routine or get into a consistent routine, which we'll talk about. I don't think I personally don't have as much of I think number 4 is my saving grace. Remind yourself while you got started.
Yes.
I talk to myself all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm my own best friend. Like, I'm like, let me tell you a story, girl.
You're
The
good
reason
at
you're
this.
going
You're
through
great at
this is
this.
because you want to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it's all going to fall. You know what I mean? Like, I think we can do that. And take real time, real talk, take some real time out. I think that's the hardest thing, talking about Monday blending into Friday, blending into Saturday. I don't know that we have the ability to do that, to disconnect from our devices, to really know how to say somebody else, delegate, which is hard. So I'm going to let us all do 3 self-care items to end this section, because I think that we could even, briefly touch on this next week and do a little bit of accountability and say like, hey, how do we do with this? Because we all know ourselves, and so we are going to, I say we because Mark, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So I've been wanting to start my meal prep again on Sunday. I know that Mark and his daughter want to participate in that. So anybody else who's listening who wants to do some meal prep on Sunday, that's what we're going to be doing. That's part of my self-care, something that really helps me get through the week and be productive and not eat a bunch of random stuff because it wasn't available in the moment of my need.
Right.
Blood sugar rules. Um, Number two, get my fat ass on the treadmill. I re-hooked up my electrical outlet. Like I had a GFI thing. Like get myself just the same thing. I think I looked ahead to your notes. Just some sort of activity every
Yes,
day.
exactly.
A commitment to some sort of so next week I want to say, yeah, I did some sort of activity every day. And then no drinking.
No
Hey, and go to
drinking.
bed. And I don't mean like I legit, it's not even like I'm not talking like I don't even want to have a glass of wine to go to sleep. Like I
Okay.
really want to like process that out of my body for a little bit.
Excellent.
Because I think that we do that medium like coping style of just like the
Exactly.
wind down.
Yes.
Let my own body create its own personal wind down.
Sleepy time tea.
Yes, like
Swap out your wine for that.
some herbal chamomile.
That's
That's my
jam.
goal. So those are my goals for the next week, to practice a little self-care. I find that those get me into a better groove, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, and I also internally posted a picture of myself a couple years ago where I was at and where I am now. And physically, from like a display, there's a huge difference. I know I'm the same person inside, and I think just being able to talk about it and really break down those steps is something that people who are entrepreneurs with each other can support each other with.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree. So I'll do mine real quick because I've been kind of
Yeah,
quiet
what are
on this
your
phone.
little goals there besides like making sure that everything gets organized tonight, sir?
Well,
It
I
was so
think for
tough.
I
me,
know,
It
like,
was
poor
tough.
thing.
you, I think for me, like, time management's real big. And since I got my office now, like, that's helping me, but there's never enough time in the day, it seems like,
Yes.
and trying to manage between personal and business, I'm lacking on my family side. Like, I'm a single dad. It's just me and my daughter. It's just us.
Balance.
And before, I was a full-time DJ and I was going at night and she was asleep and it wasn't that big of a deal. And now it's like, oh, you're going during the day and you're going at night. So I got to really find that balance between family time and work time. And it's really hard when it's just one person. You know what I mean? I feel like and we're all single parents though, but it's just like, I
We
feel
were
like for
actually
me
talking about
especially,
that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we thought that would be a really good future segment, the life of single
definitely.
parents. And I think we could
So,
probably do like 5 episodes on that, like alone.
oh yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I feel like, that's my biggest goal right now is to juggle business with, being a good dad and spending time with my daughter and really getting to enjoy her growing up and not have her like feel like, she's got to raise herself, even though she's 16 and she's, preparing to be a young lady. I still need to be here as a father. It's an important time for that. So I'm working really hard, but it don't seem like it's enough. So that's my main goal. But then there's, I've always juggled the two personas of CEO versus DJ 360. And as I've got older, DJ 360 is like became more of a, like I really want to be that big cool time DJ, but like all my friends always tell me, you want to be a cool DJ or do you want to be a CEO and run your
I think
I mean,
I've
I'm
asked you that
incorporated.
question.
I'm
I
incorporated.
definitely have.
I'm in a corporation with like 5 companies underneath my incorporation, and they're all struggling because it's not that they're struggling. Hell, I grossed 85,000 last year, and that's pretty good for a struggling entrepreneur.
Humble brag.
But because I wanted to be that cool DJ and have fun, I probably could have made 200,000 if I wouldn't have DJed 5 nights a week.
Right.
So there's that balance. You know what I mean? So those are my biggest struggles, and that's going to be enough to. I don't need 3. Those top 2 are going to be enough to keep me like really like on my toes all year. And of course the sleep, because I don't sleep.
Thank you. If you weren't going to make number 3 your sleep, I was about ready to jump in there and say, because this man right here, he does not sleep. Like he will work himself into, and I've been there and I've done that. And I mean, I would
it's a crash. It's for me. It's like a repeating cycle of unfortunate events with the sleep thing. It's like I push myself to the edge, and then I have to crash and burn. But even then, my brain is so like motivated, and I'm so determined that I'm just like I'll push through it. But the thing I've learned over the years that when you wear yourself down, you're not being productive.
You're not doing your best work.
You think you're being productive, but you're not getting shit done because you're too worn down and you're not thinking clearly.
There's actually like
Exactly.
statistical studies on that, like your
Exactly.
cognitive functioning
It
and your
starts
decision
failing.
making skills
Mm-hmm.
just going
actually
through the
start going
steps, and then
downhill.
you're
I mean,
yeah, you're on edge. You're on edge. You're snappy. You're grumpy. You're not doing things that you're not operating and moving and acting like you would if you were energized and you were yourself. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I'm the worst for it. I'll in my later years of this whole journey, like when I get in that mode, I'll shut myself off from the world and just focus on things that I don't have to talk to people to do. Because I know once I get worn down like that, then I'm going to come off as that asshole that's like, dude, that guy's a fucking prick. And it's like, nah, I'm just
He just
haven't
slept for
slept in
two
a week.
hours. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I'll focus on other things and I'll zone out and I'll build websites or I'll design flyers or I'll do other things that don't require me to talk to people. You know what I mean? But that's not going to get it done either. And then for me this year, I have to really delegate and get employees, and I have to create that. You know, I can't. I mean, and corporations are meant to have board of operators and shit. I mean, Yolanda,
They
me and
are?
you worked. Me and you worked with the charity, and they had like their whole board of directors and stuff. And corporations are supposed to be like that. So it's like, you know, I can't be the CEO, the vice president, the treasurer, I can't do it all. I wish I could, but I can't. So
Delegation.
at some point,
so
I'm
I
going to
hear
have to delegate that.
I hear delegation, I hear sleep. So you're gonna check in with those items next week, and we're all gonna. All right, what would you like to try to work on for your 3 entrepreneurial don't go to the dark side goals?
Okay. My 3. So s- sleep is hard for me. I think insomnia is like genetic.
Horrible. Me
Um,
too.
but I make do. I actually make it a point to be like, okay, I'm exhausted. I have to sleep because if I can't sleep, I can't get up with the girls in the morning. I can't,
Yeah,
just like we just talked about, I'm not going to do my best. And I like to feel like I have enough energy to do the things that I'm gonna do. But so you don't get the right amount of sleep. I don't get the right amount of sleep.
so that's one of your 3 too is sleep.
But
We all said sleep. Isn't that interesting?
one thing that really helps with that is, if you're feeling like you haven't got enough rest, you can just continue to keep yourself hydrated. You stay really hydrated, and I mean that helps with like your diet and just so many other things. So kind of getting up in the morning, drinking water, having water all throughout the day. I really want to get better at that. I'm a coffee person, so even
So
though
you get stuck in that
I
sort
get the
of
6 hours, I get
yeah.
that what is should be enough sleep, but really I'm like, oh God, I'm exhausted. I just have to water it out. So that's one for me. Stretching,
Mm.
stretching throughout the day, in the morning, after,
That's a really good
some
one.
stressful stuff going on throughout the day. It helps, release the happy hormones and
It
things
does.
like
Everybody
that, the
thinks you need to go to
endorphins.
like an hour yoga class.
Just
And I'm
stretch.
the kind of person that I stop in the middle of a moment because of all my years
Stretch.
in the gym and
Yep.
all my years dancing, and I will stretch, and people look at me
You're
like, "What are you
tense.
doing?"
You
And
start
I'm
to
like,
tense.
"I can feel it."
Yep.
Like,
And just stretch it out. So I
yeah.
want to do
All right,
more of
guys.
that.
I don't want to cut this short, but we're like running late on this one segment.
And 15 minutes of exercise. So exercise. Go ahead, Mark.
All right,
Ha
so
ha.
yeah, we're
He
running
didn't
over.
want
I
me
mean,
to
we're gonna
say
end
it.
up running over anyway. You know, just bill us, whatever. You know, the radio can bill us. You know, but anyway, moving on.
I think we
So
started
Yolanda,
late.
that's an awesome
We
topic.
did.
I feel like we could do a whole
I
freaking
feel like we could.
documentary
I
on
feel like we
all
could
of that.
definitely keep going on that for sure. Yep.
We could go on forever on that. So
All right, Mark.
you know,
Go ahead.
all right. Well, closing on that, I think we all need to improve our lifestyle, and we need to not be as hard on ourselves, and we need to get more sleep. That's the main concern here. Is being an entrepreneur, we feel like we have to do so much, and we sacrifice too much. So it's not going to work. We need to build teams. Everybody needs to stop depending on their self and be like, oh, well, Mark knows how to do that, or ooh, Yolanda knows how to do that, or ooh, you know, I mean, we all have to be more of a team because we have a
Yes.
support system.
I think that's huge. I mean, and I know we want to move on to your segment, but I mean, I rely on you guys for your high level tech skills. You know what I mean? And you have to lean into whatever somebody else can bring that strength. So
Exactly.
Yes, I mean, I learned a long time ago. I'm not a plumber, so you know, it's like I'm not going to try to do plumber stuff.
yeah. Right.
So Anyway, that's 30 minutes. We're definitely way over on that. So I'm going to have to run through mine quick. Let's move on. That's an awesome thing to talk about. So I'm going to touch on mine. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Mine was going to be really fun and funny, but, as usual, time got the best of us today.
You can still be funny.
So I wanted to touch on cuffing season. I don't know if everybody knows what cuffing season is. Let's start there. Does everybody know what cuffing season is?
I didn't. I thought it was cupping season.
Yeah, I had to change that in the outline because you didn't know. So if you see the graphic I put in the outline, cuffing season is on the way. Because here's what happens. I'm going to read it for you. Here's the overview. Christmas is fast approaching, and all I want to do is cozy up under a blanket with my dog and a family and a bar of chocolate. Still in no time at all, it's New Year's Eve, and I'll be donning my party gear to restart the search for love. Here are the resolutions I'll be living by to make 2018 a success for romance, and you should too. It's not necessarily my...
Can you see us laughing at you? Because I'm just wondering when you see this live that we're just we're still stuck.
It was really
I'm
funny.
sorry, we're still stuck on the.
And then it says family bar of chocolate.
I mean, this is people's thoughts, though. It's not necessarily mine.
No, it's real. It's real in a funny way.
We got to run through this. We got to run through this, guys. So let me get through it so we keep moving. All right. So here's the thing. Everybody's still stuck on love and having a relationship. In wintertime, everybody gets lonely, and you see all these people on social media posting, oh, I met my new boo, we're in love. Spring comes, they're divorced, they're broke up. Oh, he sucked, blah, blah, blah. So here's the thing. To have a successful dating is hard nowadays. You have all this technology. You have all these different things that have ruined dating. There's no more courting people. There's no more let's go to a movie. It's straight to Netflix and chill. You don't even make it through the movie. So it's really hard. So they're saying these are the top things to do to be successful this year. Oh my God, that echo is killing me. So quit dating apps. And I believe that.
Have you used a dating app?
I've got every dating app there is. I use it for entertainment more than anything, and I've had zero success on dating apps.
So why
Have
don't
you tried
quit?
one? Have you tried one?
One time back in 1963. No, I'm seriously seriously. I think it was on some weird Yahoo thing. No, Match.com. I think I did it 8 years ago or something, and I met this really cool weird dude that had no relevance to my current life, in some other random state.
Okay.
Does that matter?
All right. So now we know.
Right. So we've all. Okay. How about you, Alex? Have you tried a dating site yet?
Nope.
Right. So
Good for you. Good for you.
I think it's a process, and again, I think that it's also a time issue, but then you have to balance it with technology and being able to communicate with people that you wouldn't run into in our ghetto bar.
We're tight on time. So listen. So it's saying quit the dating apps because this article is encouraging us to go back to the old school. It's quickest way to meet a lot of guys or girl is to go on the dating apps, but it's about quality, not quantity. And this is true. This makes perfect sense. The sentence is your quality people that you would want to date are not hanging around playing on Tinder. You know what I mean? They're not hanging around playing on Match. So they're ditch your insecurities in your session with your phone and go out and enjoy life in the real world, and you'll be surprised who you meet when you meet them. So that's one of those you'll meet someone when you least expect it if you're just living life and being real and not depending on technology so much.
Exactly.
So
we're always 3 people away from somebody. So if somebody's on there to hook up with somebody, that same very person you might have had a better connection with if you were collaborating on something else.
Yeah, exactly.
But not because of
the then number 2, let's run through 10 real quick. I'm about to run quick. Focus on building a bomb-ass life on your own instead of finding someone. That just makes perfect sense.
He said finding a guy.
We always preach to each other hey, won't you focus on yourself before you try to focus on somebody else?
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem is people tend to depend on other people to make them. So it's like we want to be validated by someone else. I mean, me personally, I don't have a lot of family. I've never really had family. So I've always had that urge to have that significant other to validate me, or even my friends. I'll call you guys and like, what do you guys think about this? And you're like, whatever, Mark, sounds cool, do it. But to me, it's a validation thing where I need someone to go, yeah, that's great. You should do that. Whereas, you know, we have to learn how to be independent to where I don't need someone to validate me. I know what I'm doing already. You know what I
Cool
mean?
with yourself.
So moving on, you know, it's saying give occasionally second chances. So it's telling you, you know, just because you have a bad day with someone or if, like, you know, something ain't right, don't write them off so quick. Like right now, I haven't slept I've been on 3-4 hours of sleep all week. And if I was talking to someone and we had a bad day and I snapped on them, they'd probably be quickly to be like, the hell is him? He's an asshole. Or same with me. So we have to be more understanding. Life is not as easy as it used to be back in the day when it was like everything was so slow and, you know, everybody had that routine, come home from work, take your shoes off, eat dinner, hang out with your dog, watch TV, and let's talk about how everybody's day was.
Everyone
Those days
had the
are
weekend
done,
off.
and it sucks because now everything's so fast-paced. I'm over here, like, rushing to get through my segment because, you know, like, time is so valuable now, and it's so hard to do things.
But you know what? Here's the thing. I think what you're saying is so valuable, and that's one of those opportunities to take. You don't need to rush through it. Like, you know what I mean?
No, you definitely don't. When it comes to relationships and getting to know, yeah, you let that shit develop on its own. Don't push it. I feel like in the past, why relationships are so horrible in the 2000s, the millenniums, is that people, we don't trust each other anymore. Guys, women and men do not trust each other. I feel like there was a time, I'm gonna get sexist for a second, not even sexist, but I feel like a time where women kind of just went with the flow with men. When we were growing up, it was a man's world, kind of. Man worked, took care of everything. The woman took care of the house, and that's just the way it was. And, you know, you seen your parents go through stuff in the background, but we never really seen it. So we were pitched this fairy tale idea life of romance and stuff. And then when we grew up, things just changed out of nowhere. It seemed like, oh, I'm a grown up now. Where's my fairy tale? And they're like, nah, just kidding. There's no fairy tale anymore. We don't even sell picket fences anymore.
I don't think that I think they pretended to go with the flow. But I think that at the same time there was a better delivery end, right? Because pretending to go with the flow had a better reward end on the other side. So people tended to, you know, in terms of the image, I think men tended to try to deliver on that expectation a little bit higher because
I agree with that. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So there was a different perception around. I don't think that was what really was happening, but I think at the end of the day, like if a female signed off on that and said, yeah, I'm going to let you do that, then yeah, they might have certainly let them down at home or in between bed sheets or whatever it was. But I think
I'm only going to touch on 5 of these. I'm going to have to make this a 2-part segment because of time tonight.
Well, sounds like a good topic.
So number 4 is stop giving people so many chances. So quit going back to your exes. Stop, you know, going back to people that you know are toxic for you. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we get lonely sometimes, and I've done it in the past. Thank God all my exes moved away. If any of you guys are listening, please don't move back. You know, I feel like
how you really feel.
I can second that.
We went back too many times. It didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. So why in the hell would you try a third time? So don't ever give a third chance. I've always said that to myself, like, hey, third chances. No, stop it. Cut it out. So, you know, and that goes on to number 5, delete your ex's numbers out of your phone, dude. Like when I got my new phone, I didn't put any of my exes back in there except for exes that I'm like cool with, that I know we're not going to do booty calls late at night, you know, or nothing like that. Because guess what? As soon as you do that, oh, I'm lonely and I'm bored, let's have a booty call, it'll be okay. No, it's not. It starts a whole nother toxic situation. You know what I mean? So it's just get rid of them. Cut them out. It's okay. You can see them out in public and be cordial and be like, hey, how are you doing? I hope everything is great. Or you can just throw your nose up at them and tell them to go on somewhere. It doesn't matter. But stop feeling like we don't have to feel like we owe these people anything. It didn't work. Big deal. You know what I mean? Move on. So I'll have to go to number 6 and then I'm done. Get off your phone and get out into the real world. We're all guilty of it. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people where I'm like, if I'm talking to someone and you don't want to meet me for a date, if I can't get you to meet up for a happy hour for a couple of drinks, I'm not going to chase you around on a phone. I'm not chasing a girl on 3 dating apps and then we end up on Facebook talking. It's just too much. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit around and have hour-long, drawn-out conversations via 4 different apps to try to get to know you.
Well,
And then the minute I go, hey,
isn't
you
that a
want to hang
time
out tomorrow?
issue? I mean,
I'm too busy.
doesn't that come down to like an entrepreneurial issue? Like, isn't that a time
It is
issue?
an entrepreneurial issue, but
Like,
at the same time,
it's
I
sort of
try to
like
make
you're
time.
you're
And people
you're
that are
taking
not
up
even
my time.
entrepreneurs are like, hey, I don't have time. I got my kid and I got this, that, and the third. You got time. It's just you're too busy entertaining your ex, or you're too busy entertaining things you shouldn't be entertaining.
Well, it's that
So it's
issue
like-
of prioritizing those
Prioritizing
those 5 minutes if you want to, and then being very clear
And
about your limited amount of time.
First
and
impressions are a big deal, for people who are like actively dating. So, if
See,
it's
but-
just not happening,
Yeah.
then don't pursue it and don't, lead people on. I think it's
Well,
pretty simple.
exactly.
Just
I'm
be like,
very open and honest about
Yeah.
my intentions with people. Like, my new motto is like friendships and casual situations only in the beginning. I'm not jumping into anything. I'm not saving nobody. I'm not doing all that. I'm quick to be like, oh, red flag 1? Ooh, I don't know. Red flag 2? Yep, I'm out of here. You know what I mean?
Good.
So, but yeah, I'll close on that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we need to quit depending on technology to meet people. We need to stop trying to get to know somebody via freaking text. We need to just go ahead and, set aside some time to be social.
Yes.
And period. Not even dating, just friendships and everything. Set time aside. Like, the 3 of us in general. I try to hang out with you guys. We try to
I
plan
think we're
things,
good
and we're all so
examples
busy.
of that. And I don't mean in a dating way. I mean in the
Just in
fact
general,
that you
in
just
social,
have to,
in a social environment.
well, you have to be there for somebody when in that process. But and that's cool I think when you find people who are local to you, that can relate to that, that's a great advantage, because then you get into the distance issue and it does make it more challenging. Texts are more challenging, you know what I mean? Like all this. So.
Exactly. So look, I'm going to close on last thing to leave everybody pondering. We're about to have a dating app inside of Facebook. So this shit's about to get out of control. I don't like it. It's already bad enough. Facebook's always been one of those. Let me creep up in this chick's DM. We got 50,000 mutual friends. You know what I mean? So it's already bad enough. Now Zuckerberg's taking it to the next level, and he's like, hey, we might as well just do it all in one. Next thing you know, I mean, you're going to have everything built into Facebook. That's cool. You only got to log into one place, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know how I feel about that. So I'll just end on that. I'm going to do a part 2 on this next week. And, that's my segment for tonight. Let's get on to Alex. She's got a awesome guest coming on. I'm interested to hear about this.
All right.
Guest she has.
Bring your guest on, girl.
All right. Well,
All right,
thank you,
I'm
Mark.
gonna hop off of here, and I'm going to sit back and watch live with you guys.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you next week. All right. So we're going to call in my guest. My guest this week is someone I've known my whole life, my whole entire life. She's doing a new podcast. It's called Break Channel 13. I don't know if that terminology is familiar to you, to anyone listening. It's a pretty interesting concept. It's kind of an end of days podcast. It's unscripted.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's really
cool.
cool.
I just kicked you.
So I don't know if we got this one uploaded. I'd sent a clip of the trailer, but we don't have it. But that's okay, because at the end of this, you'll know where to find the trailer. So,
Absolutely.
oh, there she is. Hey, so guys, this is my mom.
Oh, hi, Mom.
This is
Hey, how is everybody?
Good.
So I have Yolanda with me here at the station, and Mark's listening now, and Eric, our sound guy, is over there. So I wanted to bring you on here to talk a little bit about what you're doing now. So this radio show is new for me. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I always kind of follow in the footsteps of like kind of this entertainment mom DJs, I DJ. That's kind of where I got it from.
I kind of
So
put you on stage when you were 8.
yeah, I was little.
Yeah.
So it was really cool, to watch mom and the group kind of pursue this and what has come out of it. So she's a producer. Your a producer is Mike
Yeah, I
producer
actually,
also? Co-producers?
mm, technically, Watershed Z is the production company, and that would be the three of us. That would be me and Mikey and Chris.
Right. Okay.
Right. And I'm kind of the spearhead, the juggernaut behind everything because sometimes you have to light a fire under certain people.
Sure.
But 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 yeah, it's the three of us.
Okay. So I was not aware of that. Okay. So what was your driving force for starting this podcast?
Okay. Well, podcasting is just it's a fantastic venue in regards of you have everything from politics to paranormal. My thing was I really enjoyed old time radio, the stories and the sound effects and how you could actually stop and close your eyes and you could imagine where that person was and make that scene your own. So that's kind of what we went with was, hey, let's do this to a degree and use podcasting as the venue because people can download it, keep it forever. Go and listen to it when you're taking a bath and relaxing. Make it your bedtime story, driving, something to disengage you from whatever else is going on. And that's just an absolutely fantastic venue. And that's why we went with it.
All right. So kind of like
It's old school, like moving forward. It's like she saw the vision,
yes.
like years and years from now, of still that process.
Right. Old school and
Absolutely.
new school kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
You get the best of all of those worlds.
Exactly.
So we didn't get to listen to the clip, which, gosh, that hurts. It was a good one. But again, I have the links here. We'll share those so you can listen to the whole clip. But again, this is kind of an end of days apocalyptic kind of feel to this podcast. And we're on the teaser for episode 1, so I don't have anything to spill really right now
Right.
except for that kind of feel. But I want to know what made you choose this this topic, this genre for your podcast.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, yeah, everybody likes a good zombie show, right?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
but the thought process is this is actually something that could happen. You think about it, and let's say that, heaven forbid, a solar flare hits hard enough, something that the people in Chile are watching Aurora Borealis. Now we have a problem.
Ooh.
Because our electrical grid will not handle that. Our computer systems will not handle that. They will be fried. Your car will stop because there's a computer that runs it.
Oh,
You're in an
believe me, I know
airplane.
that.
It will fall to the ground
Yeah.
because there's a computer that runs it.
So it's like,
And it's terrifying. That could happen. A terrorist attack, an EMP. There's so many different ways, and it's such a fragile thing, but we are so attached to it.
so
We
it's-
absolutely are. I mean, I'm telling you, in the last like 36 hours, I had my brand new car have an electrical circuit. I had 2 rooms in my house. Like I had a power cord like hit like smoke and fire. Had to get a brand new phone and I couldn't like tag onto the internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm a successful real estate agent. I'm like, what is happening? Like it's a real world crisis to me. Like I'm like, the world is blowing up. My world is blowing up. Does anybody hear me? Like I can only imagine if that whole
Right.
compounded effect between everybody else. I mean, that's real.
you wouldn't be able
That's
to
real.
do anything.
Yeah,
So
you're helpless, and you don't even realize how helpless you are.
it's terrifying
Absolutely.
and relatable.
And the people of today, I mean, people 50 years ago would have been in pain. People today will be devastated.
right. So
So,
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you seen somebody bump into something because they're staring at their phone?
yeah.
Completely.
I shouldn't laugh because
Yeah.
I'm kind of guilty of it sometimes.
No, we all are.
But
So
Yeah.
terrifying. I don't know if we've gone far enough to know if it's terrifying or not, but the idea is It's just incredibly
Well, let me put
relatable.
it to you, let me make it a little more terrifying then. If I haven't gotten you yet, in regards of you're driving home and
I'm
now your
already
car is dead, but
terrified.
you're still 50
Yeah?
miles away.
Yeah?
Or how about this? You have to have dialysis.
Ooh. Yep. And then
What
it's
about all those
everything's
medications that
just
have to be refrigerated? How about that person that's actually breathing through a respirator?
sure. Yeah. So relatable and terrifying.
Oh, I'm already terrified.
And we don't
I
know.
So,
think it's
hey,
just, I think it's
but
baseline terrifying.
but we can completely live through it because we're humans,
Right.
Well,
and we've lived through it before. It's
we-
the new adjustment.
it's the adaptability, and then that old school, like, sort of like, it's that fight or flight
Yes.
syndrome that
Eh,
kicks in. It's that you go back to that, like, old school, like, survival method.
Exactly.
You know.
So
Absolutely.
it makes you kind of think. So that's, kind of one appealing aspect of this story of Break Channel 13. Another interesting thing to me that I didn't realize people would do with stories like this particular story is unscripted. So it's
Yes,
not a book.
we
It's
are
not,
we are
someone
LARPing.
got lines. So why was that something that you wanted to do with your story?
Okay, so there's an outline, a basic, very loose outline to the story.
Okay.
So we have an idea of where it's going. Now, I'm not going to tell you a story that's not true. We have an outline, but we fight over it or discuss it regularly, which is probably going to end up being aired on our outtakes at some point.
Excellent. That'll be great.
We're probably going to have to do that because you guys would find out exactly how ridiculous we really are. But the idea of doing it in like a LARPing or a live action role play situation is okay. So I know my character has came from a world where she almost had a god complex, and she thinks she can do anything. And that is kind of relatable to, unfortunately, and it's a big thing for me to say out loud, but it is relatable to me.
Sure.
Right? You don't have to be so quick to agree.
Well, known you my whole life.
She's like, yeah, sure, I get it.
And then
She's honest.
the other two characters, the guy you hear at the very beginning, the teaser, this is a guy who is very attached to technology.
Yes.
So he's grasping at everything, and that's really who he would be in a situation.
Yeah. So you picked the right people for the right character to kind of carry on those storylines.
So has the first, like, thing come out on this? Yeah, like, where?
So we have the teaser episode, and so yeah,
The teaser episode is out. The first episode, which is oh gosh, he told me the name of it, and I'm like, what did you name it? And he told me, and now it's gone.
Jack,
I think
can you
it's
hear
I think it's a drink to the
Hey,
dead.
Jack,
drink
can you
with the
hear me?
dead.
It's Hey Jack, can you hear me? We found it. Hey
No,
Jack.
that's the teaser.
That's
Hey
the
Jack, can you
teaser.
hear me? Is the teaser.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll repost that, right?
Yes,
The teaser.
absolutely.
We'll repost that so that we can make sure that everybody hears that. I'm excited.
Awesome.
It's
Awesome.
good.
Yeah, I think you're really gonna dig it. The A Toast to the Dead. That's the first episode. That'll come
Oh, A
out on
Toast to the
October 1st.
Dead. Okay, gotcha.
And then we have another episode that's going to just be there for our Patreons, and that's Jack's Game. And kind of the idea behind that is we're actually running a little game alongside Break Channel 13.
Right, and it's interactive, yeah?
Right. And for prizes. But it's basically this character gives out the clues as to where she was. They figure out where, and it's something you can search online, which you still have access to.
Yes, because
right?
outside of the story.
Thank God. But
So this is probably
so we'll
something
be running that
we can
side.
follow up with too,
Oh, absolutely.
like, as the
Yeah.
whole drama unfolds of like that.
Exactly.
But I like
Exactly.
what I like about it is I like the it sort of gives a grounding feeling to that whole. And I don't know, I don't know that we've really seen a whole lot of things really breaking down that technological breakdown and how that's
Absolutely.
all gonna
You have to be the
affect
kind of
us.
person who watches kind of
Not on a daily level, not on a person to
no.
person. We hear the whole, like,
Yes.
you know, used to be those high dramas where it's like big stuff, but like how does that
Sure.
affect like the daily? I think
Sure. I
that's
mean, you look at places that have had kind of natural disasters, I think is going to be the closest
sure.
thing we find right now.
Yeah,
But
that
we're
makes
talking
sense.
about the breakdown of all of
Everybody, so there's not
civilization.
somebody else that's still working and functioning and bopping along. Like everybody
Exactly.
goes down at the same time. Yeah.
So, I think we gotta start moving this along. But I have a character. I had a character. I don't know if I still have a character. And I just want to know if my
still in the
character's
outline.
okay. Good. My character's still in the outline.
Sweet.
And I want to know. So
Don't
if we're gonna
kill her off.
well, if we're gonna follow up with this, I want to know actually if you will kill us off. I think getting killed off on a series is kind of what really brings that moment.
When you kill her off, can I be her replacement?
Wow.
Yes,
Dark here.
yes.
A little dark.
I mean,
A little dark. A little
It's-
darkness right there.
I think it's kind of it's
I'm not
kind
sure how to
of
react right now.
well, it has to be
I
all
don't know.
three
I
of
mean,
us.
your character
Yeah.
may be suicidal. Your character may be so homicidal
I don't
want to
do that.
throw you
I
in a
want
bungee
it to
pit.
be like
Who knows?
either
We really just don't know.
it's got to be a wild accident or someone did it to me on purpose.
Well, I will say, and it's kind of a spoiler, but so long as you stay in the outline, that is.
Oh God, I might be dead already. I'm dead already.
She's
Okay.
dead. Just
I've
tell
been
her she's
killed
dead.
off.
No,
Just let
no,
her
no.
know.
In the spoiler, you are a protagonist.
Right. Yes.
So, that being the case, you never know. People can fall in love with a protagonist.
Oh. Okay. All right.
So,
So if it
so
ends
it's
up being
really
a big
kind of
character,
a,
you
let's
can't
see
kill
how
him
you
off.
are, let's see how you go, let's see how evil you are, and if the evil is good, because sometimes evil is good.
So unscripting, keeping it unscripted, kind of, it really leaves that open. You don't know ahead of time what you're going to do
What's
with that
gonna
person
happen.
since you
Yeah.
haven't scripted it. You're waiting for the audience reaction.
Well, that's important.
Exactly.
So this podcast is on Patreon.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Patreon, can you listen for free on Patreon?
Yeah.
Do you have to?
Well, you don't have to go to Patreon. You can go to Podbean, you can go to iTunes, you can go to Stitcher, you can go
Oh.
to SoundCloud. I mean, we plaster ourselves everywhere,
Good. Good.
just about.
Yay.
But,
Well, I'm excited.
Yes.
and if
See
you
what's
do,
gonna
please
happen.
review us on iTunes. That's fantastic.
Okay, so iTunes, Patreon, Podbean, all of the places that you can find a podcast. If you do subscribe, is Patreon the place?
Yeah, if you're going to help support Break Channel 13, Patreon's the place to be.
Okay, what do people get for doing that? What is the...
Okay, so there's different tiers. And I understand what he's talking about, that echo.
Yeah.
So there's different tiers. If somebody wants to donate $1 to the show monthly, basically they're going to get in our Facebook group. They're just helping us to stay ad-free. The show is free to listen to. And we're just trying to keep it so the ads stay off of it.
Okay.
Now, and then there's the next level, and those people we call radio enthusiasts. And those people can join into Jack's game.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so they get the game.
And right. And then there's other levels up higher. And some of those people are actually offering them a 30-second spot on the show, a 5-minute spot on the show.
Okay.
Cool.
Excellent. So
Right.
we have plenty of stuff to keep people interacting with you. A lot of great reasons to go ahead and subscribe, but you don't have to. You can just listen to a story, and it's going to
Absolutely.
be an excellent story. So I have your Facebook page here. I have the website. I have the Patreon link. So we're going to share all of those with the audience. And just before we wrap up, is there anything you think that we should know, that the listeners should know about what is happening on Break Channel 13?
Well, you know what? I think that you've done a great job covering it, putting all that out there. If you get the chance to go to the website, go to the bottom of the page, check out Jack's diary. You can get an idea, at least from the first page, of who she is.
All right.
And then,
help
hey,
build the
just
backstory.
review us. If you don't want to support us in any other way, reviewing us helps so much, gets us up on the charts, pushes us.
Excellent. All right,
All
so
right.
we'll do that for you. You do the same for us.
You got it.
It's okay if you kill her off and I come on. It's okay.
It's fine.
I know we just
bring
met.
you back. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Mom. I
you, you
appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
Have a great night.
You do the same.
You too.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
So that was week 3. It's our 3rd episode of 360 Real Talk.
1, 2, 3.
I hope that you guys enjoyed it. We all hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a lot of fun. So we went over
Absolutely.
cuffing season. We went over entrepreneur burnout. We're going to have a follow-up on, I think, all of the things that we talked about today.
Because we have to hold ourselves accountable. I mean,
Yes.
it's just not a topic that we picked. It's something that I think we're going to support each other on.
Absolutely.
And move forward with. And I think that we would be interested to hear from our listeners what their self-care.
Exactly. Yeah, share that with us. If
Share
you have
that with
tips,
us.
please.
What would you like to hear from us about, how we were successful in the next week with that? Do you have any self-tips? What have you gotten through, your hard times with? I think that, and do you have anybody you're cupping with?
Cuffing! Handcuffs!
I'm telling you, it just sounds like either you're getting handcuffed to a bed or you're spooning somebody. I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Excellent. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. I'm Alex.
I'm Yolanda.
And Mark was with us earlier, DJ 360. We'll see you guys next week, next Monday.
Okay, thank you. Bye.